You're listening to the Fantasy Fling Podcast. Take a break from the season-long commitment and join us for a Friday fling as we give you the newest and hottest DFS deals, preview the DFS main slate, and take the dreadful walk of shame. Here are your hosts, Brandon and Eric.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us as we talk the Week 8 DFS main slate. We're also going to take a look back at Week 7. Hot plays, shameful plays. It was a week full of blowouts, so you probably had a few shameful plays in there if you did game stacks. How did that affect DFS stacks? Well, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about how they went. We'll break it all down. Guys, welcome. Eric?
Thank you. This the unintentional rhyme, but Slate for Week 8. I love it.
No doubt. And, it's, I guess, Halloween edition. So we'll do a Walk of Shame Halloween-esque. I'm sure we got a few of those. But let's start it with the hot plays of Week 7 first. So quarterbacks, Joe Burrow. Bengals are legit. They smacked the Ravens around in that game. Yeah. It was not close, really, at all. And the crazy thing is, it was in Baltimore. So Joe Burrow looked great. He was the top quarterback on DraftKings last week with 30.64 points. Stafford, another guy, he was in the Millie Maker winning lineup. You pretty much saw that one come in. Stafford versus old team, it's a mismatch, and it kind of went how you thought it would go. So Stafford was just right behind Burrow with 30.16 points. Tua, he was very mixed bag in that game. That game was a pretty decent game. It was close to the end. He had a couple horrible throws, really, for interceptions, but overall he looked good. And he took the third spot with 28.5 points. Mac Jones, Bill Belichick, he was going to trash the Jets. So they did all right. 25 points, against the Jets. So it's to be expected. And then fifth, Aaron Rodgers, 24.6 points. We'll see how he does Thursday since they got some COVID issues going on in Green Bay.
Yeah, man, that's an interesting game. They always, they're going to game plan, and he'll probably end up being okay, but I'm curious to see how they pull it off.
I'm sad it's not on the main slate because I feel like this could be a good Aaron Jones week because he doesn't get a lot of carries. It's very hit or miss, and he's not cheap. So DFS purposes, it could have been a great week for him. We'll see how he does on Thursday, but it could have been a good play.
That should be a good
game, yeah, agreed. Going on to the running backs. Dude, Deandre Swift is like the wide receiver 1 in Detroit.
RB1 and wide receiver 1.
Yeah, he's basically, he's Goff's go-to guy. Him and Khalif Raymond. But Deandre Swift just looks incredible every time he has the ball. He's got great burst. He runs really hard. You can just tell that's why he gets hurt as much as he does. He always has some type of ailment because he just runs really hard. Really love watching him play.
He's questionable every week. There hasn't been any he's obviously just limited in practice, nothing serious so far, which is great. Yeah.
It's crazy. Outside of DeAndre Swift, the top 5 running backs this past week on the main slate, not really the guys you'd expect. So we got Damian Harris just behind DeAndre Swift. So DeAndre had 28.4 points. Damian Harris 28.3. Again, the Jets doing their thing with him. Khalil Herbert looks good. Dave Williams, he got the Rona. He probably shouldn't have because Khalil Herbert looks good, and I don't think he's going away. We'll see how that plays out. And Brandon Bolden, wow. So we got 2 players that score almost 20 points plus, 2 running backs in the same game. That pretty much says the team got their ass kicked.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you play the Jets. And then Myles Gaskin. Eric, you called it Myles Gaskin last week. I remember you talking about him on Making a Millie. He did good. 17 points. He looked good. Receiving, carrying the ball, making people miss. Very underrated player.
And he's pretty nice looking forward too, because Malcolm Brown just went on IR like immediately after he got injured. So it's him or Salvan Ahmed. So it might be a good play.
No doubt about it.
But yeah, man, something. I'm trying to remember how many points. So talking about that Patriots game, you have Damian Harris and Brandon Bolden in the top 5. I think J.J. Taylor, he had like 17 points. He was not far outside. I think they had like 3 running backs in the top 15 in that game. Just nuts.
Right.
And yeah, Khalil Herbert, I think he's done enough that when Montgomery comes back, I'm not sure he's going to have quite such a big workload. There's no way you can. At least I don't think you could take that away from him from what he's shown when Montgomery comes back. So that might change things up a little bit.
No doubt about it.
Man, getting into the receivers, as we've talked about, a lot of times you'll see the correlation with the top 5 quarterbacks with the top 5 receiver that's on the list. Number 1 was Kupp with 40.6 points, and of course, Stafford was 30 points, so the correlation's there. Jamar Chase with Burrow. Jamar Chase had 37.1. You don't see
a scary
Brady
list.
Yeah, you don't see Brady on the list because he was, the game was over by like midway through the second quarter. So anyway, Mike Evans, 3 touchdowns, 31.6 points. AJ Brown, I know that's your boy.
Let's see AJ back.
Boy,
that's your boy, Brandon. I knew, that he finally looked healthy. He looked good. He finally had a good game.
He got rid of the Chipotle. He got it all out of his system.
He's got 2 good games in a row now. Like AJ's back. It's good to see.
No doubt about it. Did we lose Eric?
Yeah, he looks frozen.
I think we lost Eric. Well, that's okay. He'll be back. Well, let me take over for this. So, dude, Kupp was like 2019, basically Michael Thomas, but he's not slant boy. He can run all the routes. They're scheming him all kinds of crazy. So, you back, Eric?
Yeah, back.
You got back. Frozen on us for a second.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's all good.
I don't know what happened there.
I was just saying Kupp was like 2019 Michael Thomas, except he can run every route on in the route tree. Like they're scheming him just to do everything. So he's even better than.
I feel like he's always been a pretty elite receiver. Doing what we did with Goff, but now you have a quarterback who's competent. It just, I guess, like to look back, I can't say I'm surprised. He's always been good.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think I was on A.J. Brown. I was talking about A.J. Brown at 30, and then round out the list. However you want to call him. You want to call him Scary Terry. You want to call him McLaren F1. He's got all kinds of nicknames, but 28 points. The guy's he's really good. Can you imagine if he had a good quarterback?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that guy could be a top 5 guy every week. He's really good. Really
I wrote about that this week actually on fantasyfootballfling.com on Week 7 Millie Maker recap. I was just saying we don't actually know what his floor is. Well, I'm sorry, we don't know what his ceiling is. His ceiling could be as high as like Kupps and Adams, but we've never seen him. We've never seen him with a quarterback to bring it out of him. Yeah.
I mean, if you just watch him on, I don't watch a lot of film, but I watch some players, and there's been quite a few touchdowns this year. There's just a 50-50 ball. Like Heineke's like, hey, catch it. Good luck. And he comes down with it. And he's not like a huge guy either. He's not like a DK Metcalf, big dude. He's just extremely talented. He's really good. He's the alpha presence there. Moving on to tight ends, man, I think he found his place. I think the wide receiver 1 on the Falcons is Kyle Pitts. At least that's how it's looking the last 2 weeks, man.
If you just looked at Kyle Pitts,
he's a receiver.
Just his build, and you're like, what position does he play? He's a wide receiver, right?
Absolutely, yeah, he's a receiver.
Yeah, he doesn't even look like a tight end at all.
I'm trying to remember who gave the number. I think J.J. Zacharyson. He said he lines up as a receiver like 30. I can't remember. I'm sorry. I apologize. Like 35% of the time he lines up just as a straight-up receiver.
He made this ridiculous one-handed catch down the sideline that wide receivers, like elite wide receivers, make.
He used to, if you remember back in the day, Jimmy Graham was like an elite guy. It's what he reminds me of. He kind of looked like a receiver more than a tight end, but back in the day, for like 5 years, he was like one of the best. But anyway, CJ Uzomah, Man, it's the second appearance on the list. It's the second game with 2 touchdowns. I feel like if you look back on before the matchups happen, if it seems to be a really good tight end matchup, he seems to do well. Maybe it's a fluke, maybe not. I don't know, but two games with 2 touchdowns, not too bad at all. A guy that I was really high on last. He does, man, and he's pretty athletic for a tight end. He's more a better patch caster than a blocker for sure.
This is like sometimes like what is. You can look at the box score and you'd be like, okay, maybe he's just like catching, he's the go-to guy in the red zone, but he's not really doing a whole lot. No, dude, he's getting open deep. Like he's streaking down the middle of the field, and Burrow's hitting him. It certainly looks sustainable.
He looks good, man. He looks good for sure. I agree.
Yeah.
Another guy that looks sustainable and really good too is Mike Kaseki. Man, he's third on the list, 21 points. I was really high on him last week. I played him in a lot of my cash lineups, which we'll get to here shortly. But he had a great week with 21.5 points. Followed by Darren Waller's replacement, Foster Moreau. So I guess just insert. Although I'm kidding, Waller's way more talented than Moreau, but he had a great game, man. That was supposed to be and you actually called it. I had Waller in my my GPP games, and then I found out he was out, so I pivoted to Hawkinson, which was a huge mistake. But Waller would have had probably a big game. I mean, you called it, and Moreau ended up having it in place of him. Sure. And then a guy who may have a big Thursday game too, Robert Tanyan, but he goes by Tanyan. I don't understand that, but 16.3 points. He's not on the main slate by any means, but if you do like the odd games, like Robert Tanyan might have a lot of targets with Adams and Lazard being out.
If you're looking to play showdown, maybe put Tanyan in a captain's spot.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not, I don't know how many more targets he gets, but I know Rodgers' weapons are gone. So, yeah, man. I like it. Yeah, Foster Moreau, he's actually, because I follow the Raiders, as you guys probably mentioned too many times in this damn podcast, but I like the Raiders as my team. I've watched him play, and he always seemed like he was really good. He just never had the chance because Waller's better, and he showed that he's pretty good tight end. But,
he made his way into the Millie Maker lineup this past week. He was
only
pivoted 2,500.
Crazy, man. Yeah. That's a huge return on investment right there.
Yeah, he's 6x. Even he only had like 18 points or whatever, but yeah, he was over 6x. So.
Paul, do you have the sheet with the defense?
Yep, I got it.
You want to round that out? Round out the defense?
Obviously the Bucs came out to play.
It's crazy.
I mean, both sides of the ball.
Should have seen that one coming.
Yeah,
with Justin Fields and Matt Nagy, his lack of imagination, I guess you could say, for Fields.
Yeah, that offense. Quarterback, Bucs were all over him. That defense was kind of slow for a little bit. They looked great in that game. Obviously, it was a rookie quarterback. Titans, hey, they went up against one of the best offenses out there, and
no one saw that coming.
Touchdown, Mahomes.
That game had a 58-point total, and you know what's the crazy part is the Chiefs had the higher. I think they had like the 31 point total, team total. Yeah, that didn't happen.
No, I mean, absolutely stopped everywhere. Giants after that's kind of a surprise, but
I played them in all my cash games, so
there you go.
Packers, and then rounded up with the Patriots. Obviously, you're playing Jets, and you're getting skinned by Belichick. That can always be a good defense.
Yeah, they are.
For sure.
They can
it's
be.
The Jets.
It is the Jets. Now they have a backup QB. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
Might be a slaughter.
Well,
it's
not Flacco time, right?
Trade that.
Not yet, man.
Tuesday. We might see some wild stuff.
I don't blame. Here's the thing, though. I know this isn't this is a DFS podcast, but here's the thing, though. I agree with the Jets' decision of trying to I think it's Mike White is his name. We know what Flacco is. He's been in the league for years and years and years and years. Mike White came in and did more than Zach Wilson did. So I 100% agree with what they're trying to do. Let's see what he's got. Maybe it's just a hidden gem who's okay. Maybe he's a decent quarterback. So I like the call.
I'm with you. I mean, Jets are trash. It's not like they have a Super Bowl team and they just need a quarterback to keep things afloat. A veteran, just hand the ball off. Hit a couple of dig routes. A couple of comebacks, like easy stuff. No, they're done. Well,
yeah, man.
That's it for the hot plays of week 7. Speaking of hot, owner's box. Been talking about it every week because it's a hot deal. Superflex meets DFS. They will do a $25 deposit match with your first deposit. Have to get down on these rake-free contest overlays with no sharks. Every week they have been offering a free entry into their $25,000 contest, and it never fills. So be sure to use the link in the podcast description if you want to get in on competition like this. Most everyone plays Superflex anyway. If you're serious about fantasy football, so you don't have to worry about defenses. You just throw in another quarterback, another flex spot. It's fun. It's a new way to play DFS. Give it a try. Week 7 would not be complete without talking about the walk of shame for week 7. You guys got a walk of shame for me last week.
You know what? I'll admit, I had a pretty good week last week, but I do have a walk of shame, which I'm calling it out this week, but it was related to other weeks. So a trade happened a while back in the league, and I gave some people a really hard time for it. It involved Allen Robinson and Miles Sanders, and it happened pretty early on. And those guys have been known to be pretty good. And man, I gave them a lot of shit. And it turns out that I was wrong on that trade. I was wrong. As bad as it looked on paper, you just never know. That's my walk of shames. I apologize, and I said I was wrong. I messed up. That was definitely my walk of shame. I gave them a lot of shit for it. I'm not going to call it their names because they may or may not want it, but I'm sorry. I was wrong. I don't know what happened. Justin Fields happened. That's what happened to Allen Robinson. Even Blake Bortles made him a top 12 receiver. What the hell, man?
Yeah.
It's so bad. It's so bad. It looks like he's quitting on the field.
He should have demanded a trade while he had a chance.
Yeah.
Stuck around.
Yeah. But that's my walk of shame because of how much of a hard time I gave them, and I feel bad for it now. Hindsight, you never know what's going to happen, but man, that's my walk of shame because I feel like an asshole.
That's all good, man. How about you, Paul?
If we want to discuss shameful trades, we can discuss shameful trades.
I'm letting you walk up to the podium and face the music on this one. Okay, I'm not trying to.
It was huge trade.
Huge, the best trade for both parties.
Best trade, super fair trade ever. It was me giving up Schultz and Madison for Nyheim Hines and Kyler Murray.
Yeah. So
from one of the last place teams that honestly was sitting Kyler on the bench every week, had Lamar in, needed some players, and I sent out a. If you thought that one was bad, you should have seen my first request. Then he countered, and then I countered and said, "Hey, let's do this." And I was like, "All right, approve it." He changes his mind.
I want to know. I want to know. You said, you ran this through a trade chart. I want to know what the hell trade chart you were using because I ran it through 5 different charts or calculators, and that was not close. Murray was 2x both of them.
Super close. It was on Fantasy.
You said it was close though in the chat room. I ran through a chart. It was close.
It was Fantasy even. Pros where they have the power rankings. It boosted up his power rankings on his active roster. That's the only reason.
Oh my god.
We could spend an hour talking about this trade.
And now
very layered.
To add on to it, he also dropped Madison this week for
Ronald Jones.
So the player he paid for, he dropped. And then I traded for the other guy. So there you go.
He paid 10 fob for when he was completely free.
Nobody wanted him. Yeah. I don't blame him. I thought about it and I was like, nah. Has to be an injury for something.
So here's the thing. Sleeper is always, ahead of the curve, and they do like league history and this and that. Two things I think they need to add: Hall of Fame, so like a league Hall of Fame that like we can vote on, and a league Wall of Shame. And this trade will be at the top of the Wall of Shame. This is the worst trade in the history of this league by far. Like. 2 weeks later, he dropped the guy that he got for Kyler Murray. Like,
and
what are you doing?
And the week before that, he dropped Antonio Brown into the waiver wire while having John Brown, who just got cut from the Broncos practice squad, in his bench.
This is how wild this. Troy, like he won like $1 million in the stock market. I say won, like it's like DraftKings, like winning the Billy Maker or whatever. But yeah, he made $1 million in the stock market, and yet, like he has no like understanding of like value. I'm like, dude, like, can you not see the issue here? I'm like, so many people would have given you better players for Kyler Murray because he drafted Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray. I'm like, I would have given you a starter for him, and you traded for a backup, and then you dropped him 2 weeks later, like. All right. We can't. We're off the rails. We can't derail the show just talking about this trade for an hour.
Sorry. Yep.
But yeah, it's a great walk of shame, Paul.
Shoot or shoot.
Let's get to it. Let's get to this is a Halloween edition. It's not going to be as shameful as it was last year, Paul. Randy Savage, Macho Man Randy Savage.
We may have to just splice in a couple clips from last year, just so the people understand what we're talking about. Just a couple small clips.
I'll have to go through the archives on that one. But all right, so I'll start it with this. When I say Halloween edition walk of shame, remember Chad Kelly? Remember Chad Kelly? He's the nephew of Jim Kelly. Crazy talented. The Broncos drafted him. I want to say he was the last round. He might have been the last pick of the draft. I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. Maybe he's a little longer. He had tons of off-the-field issues, but obviously crazy talented. I mean, Jim Kelly's nephew. Looks really good in preseason. Some people thought this was when the Broncos had Paxton Lynch, Trevor Siemian, and then Chad Kelly was like the third guy. Von Miller throws a party, right? Things get so out of hand at this Halloween party that Chad Kelly ends up like in someone's house, the wrong house. So he ends up in this house, like on the couch, and like people came out and they're like, "Who the fuck is this guy on the couch?" So he got like attacked with a vacuum. And they like start hitting him with a vacuum. Anyways, he ends up in jail. The mugshot's hilarious. So here's my thing: if you ever had a Halloween walk of shame, maybe not Chad Kelly bad, but tell me your Halloween walk of shame.
Trying to think back, I'm getting older. I have a wife and kid now, so things are different for the last 8 years.
Yeah, you got to go way back. Yeah,
man, I got to go way back. I don't know, man. I have to think about that. I know recently, as recent as like 2 years ago, we gave away all of our good candy. So I put on some mask and shit, and I went out the pillowcase and got trick or treated at the age of 36. So
That's pretty shameful.
We were drinking some whiskey, and I was like, "What happened to all the chocolate? What happened to all the good? We gave it all away." So I went to a couple houses and I got some good food, some good.
Wait, you went got
to the store.
You went. It's supposed to like taking an Uber to Walmart and get more candy. You decided to go trick or treating.
Yep, I did.
It's shameful, but like the work ethic to.
I grabbed a pillowcase, I put a mask, and I walk up to the door, and I kind of like kneel down, like bend kind of down, and like,
Oh no,
that is pretty bad. That is pretty bad.
And Steph can back this up. She's like, Eric. She's yelling at me all night, like, don't do it. I went and did it anyway. Yeah. So that's, I mean, in the last, like, because I have to think back 10 plus years because I have a kid and it changed his life. But like recently, that's something I did 2 years ago. So that's, I mean, as you get older,
Yeah.
that's it was what it is. But for that is a pretty bad walk of shame for 30 being 36 at that time.
For sure. Pretty good.
Don't go out there.
What about you, Paul? I mean, you might not even remember some of your walk of shames. Tell me about it. I know you got one or two.
Man, the one that I was thinking of is painting myself completely blue to be a genie from Aladdin, and then hooking up with a girl at a party, and then she would come back downstairs going like, "No, we didn't do anything up there." She was completely blue. Just with my body paint coming up.
The worst part, this wasn't even a Halloween party. This was a theme
Oh,
party.
it wasn't even a Halloween party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was just a dirty Disney party. Yeah.
That was a shameful night.
And just so you know, I mean, because of that, I tell you Happy Father's Day every Father's Day, even though you have no
I
kids.
send it right back to you.
Yeah.
They're
But
out there
speaking of, there's something I want to bring up to you guys. I don't know if you've noticed. Have you guys ever gone into like league history?
yeah.
Sleeper?
Yeah.
So if you go into league history and Sleeper, I'm number 1 in all-time standings. So
Nobody cares.
I just want you to know I'm the father of this league. Even though I don't father any kids, it's because I'm busy fathering every one of you as my children in this league. I'm number 1.
We're still a long season ahead of us.
I hope
I
you're
took
ready
you
for
out
this
last
is-
year.
This is all the years.
I hope you are ready.
Oh
for
man, well,
my
you know, I'll be brutally honest. Until about like 5 or 6 years ago, I didn't really try that hard. I know Paul. Until about 2 years ago, Paul really didn't give much of it.
Yeah.
He's actually. What's crazy though, what shows you what happens when you start to just pay a little more attention. Like, look how far Paul's come. Like, he's got one of the better teams in the league. Even last year, he won it all.
The guy who would pick two kickers at the draft.
The nickname Taco for a reason. Crazy, man. It's all right. That's gonna change. Don't worry about it. Like, as I start to pay attention, if you look, maybe let's like cut this down to like the last 5 or 6 years. Who's the champ then? Go back down.
I mean, past 10 years is me. That's how long this league's been going on.
My dad, you know what's crazy, man? My dad, I was looking back on the NFL Network. My dad actually played 1 year in our league.
Yeah, he did play 1 year.
I forgot about that. I was like, what the hell?
I think that was the first year we did the draft at like Buffalo Wild Wings, and it wasn't even
I
down the
completely
street.
forgot about that, dude.
It was like it was in Arvada or something.
Yeah, the one. Yeah, crazy, man. I forgot about. I was going through the history. I was like, what the hell? Completely forgot about that.
Yeah, we've had a lot of casualties of this league. Ex-girlfriends don't make it in this league, so don't invite your girlfriend ever to the league. It won't work. Yeah. But I guess I have a walk of shame for Halloween edition. Or no.
Walk of shame.
Let's say a friend of mine.
Oh boy.
A friend of mine was bartending a private party. And from what he told me, he had another party he was supposed to be at that night, and he was a little irritated that he had signed up for a bartending shift. So he started drinking before and during the bartending private party. And then the owner of the private party told him, "Oh, you can drink. I want you to drink with me. In fact, we're doing shots every time I come up here." So, being the hospitality enthusiast that he is, he agreed to drink with the owner. So, things got out of hand, you could say. And he ended up blacking out and woke up on the couch at the party that he was supposed to be bartending. So he was supposed to be getting other people drunk. He blacked out, woke up on the couch. He had a sock missing. First thing he told me, he said when he woke up, he thought he was going to get fired. Like, for sure. Like, oh, fuck. I really fucked up. I shouldn't be here. What am I doing here? I was supposed to bartend this party. Why am I waking up on the couch?
Wait, hold on a second. I thought this was your friend because all of a sudden it just switched to I woke up here. What's going on?
It's definitely my friend. So yeah, that's his walk of shame. He wanted to share that with me to say on the show for the Halloween edition. So yeah. Moving on. Week 8 hot plays.
Yeah, man. You started out. You transitioned from your friends. No, I'm just kidding. You told me that story before. I know it's your friend.
Yeah. He's
man.
Many issues.
Turn it around this time. I usually started out. How about you hit this hot plays of week 8?
Absolutely. I was gonna say I kind of skipped over some of the hot plays that we had last week. I'll say this. So, Kansas City, Tennessee stacks, not so much. They didn't really work very well last week. But I did stack several other games. So, I ended up placing 6th in a tournament where I had Miles Sanders completely bomb on me because he got hurt. He had 5 carries for 30 yards. So, he crushed it and then he got hurt. So that's kind of how that goes. But yeah, I placed 6th in a small tournament. A lot of Stafford stacks. Had some Brady Bucks stacks that actually worked out well too. But yeah, I had Stafford, Swift, and then Kupp, A.J. Brown, and Godwin. So those were kind of the bulk of my players in that tournament, and then crushed by Miles Sanders. So overall, it was a pretty good week. Cashed in cash. And, a lot of times there's just 1 or 2 players that you're really just needing to bring it home for a tournament, and it doesn't happen. I will say this, too. DFS Army, I went ahead and did the back test. And basically, the back test is you're just trying to play around with the optimal lineups. So maybe you choose, like, an extra unique player, or maybe you're just focusing on one stack and you're like, I like these 2, 3, 4 players, and then you just run the optimizer and you see how it would have fared had you been on all the right players. So last week, there were most of the players that I was on because I was into that Lions and Rams game, as well as the Bucks, and then just like some one-offs with like A.J. Brown and Chris Godwin or whatnot. I had, doing the back test, I was able to get 215 points from their optimals. And this is Stafford, this is Fournette, this is Swift, this is Slayton, this is A.J. Brown, this is Cooper Kupp, this is Foster Moreau, and this is Chris Godwin and the Patriots. So there's 215 points, literally just a Darius Slayton great day away from taking out tournaments. And then a lot of the lineups that they were spitting out were 200-plus lineups with Miles Sanders. So if Miles Sanders has the big day that you're expecting him to have after the early start, these are tournament-winning lineups. So definitely check DFS Army out, mainly for the domination station. Go over to dfsarmy.com, use code FANTASYFLING for a 10% off a VIP subscription. But let's go to the hot plays of Week 8, and we'll start it off with the Vegas lines for y'all. There's some juicy games this week. I'm really liking the slate. Last week was the Apocalypse. This week, it's different. So we got Tennessee and Indy at 51 points. Tampa Bay, New Orleans, 50.5. Miami and Buffalo at 49.5. New England and Los Angeles Chargers at 49. And then Philly and Detroit at 48.5, as well as Los Angeles Rams and Houston at 48. Los Angeles Rams and Houston, I can't stress that enough. What a mismatch. Probably kind of as we saw last week, it was a lot of blowouts. So game stacks, not so much, but team stacks, if you target the right games, you can do good things.
Absolutely.
Eric, you want to start us off with QBs?
Yeah, that was last week was interesting for sure. It's funny, Tennessee 2 weeks in a row is the highest over under, which says a lot, which is why what they did to the Chiefs offense is so surprising because their defense is just it's not good. Get those weird one-off games though. But with that being said, I do this week. There's a couple guys I like. He's getting a little more expensive, but Jalen Hurts. He's the only quarterback in the league that has scored 20-plus points in every single game. He's not a really. We talked about this before. He's not a good quarterback for real life, but for fantasy, he's like Bortles on steroids. He doesn't do much until the fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden,
absolutely garbage time points.
Yeah, he's literally like a better version of Bortles for sure.
Tebow, people forget Tebow. He was awful for 3 quarters, and then he scored like 20 points in the fourth quarter. You'd be like, what the fuck just happened?
But Hurts is 7,200. I think he was 6,900 last week, so he's a little more expensive. But if he keeps on pace with scoring the 20-plus points a game, he'll cover the 2x if you're looking for cash. I feel like Joe Burrow is fine. I know they're playing a matchup of the Jets, and like people, there's the crutch argument, right? It's like, oh, they're gonna get so far ahead, they're just gonna run the ball. But to get far ahead, you have to put up points. And I feel like they're just going to crush the Jets. And Burrow 7,100. I like him a lot this week. I feel that maybe they bench him midway through the fourth quarter or at the beginning of the fourth quarter, but I think he'll make his due by then. Great matchup. Unless it just turns into just a pure run, I don't think it's going to happen. But I like Burrow this week, and over under top one, Tannehill 6,600. I like him against the Colts. He seems to be playing better. He's got his weapons back. A.J. Brown's healthy. Julio, I think, is getting there. Derrick Henry is always a beast, and he hits him with some screens sometimes. So I like Tannehill, Burrow, and Hurts this week for quarterbacks.
Okay. I do like Hurts. He's actually, it's early. It's Wednesday night as we're recording this, but he's coming in as top projected quarterback at like almost 13%. I like him. I do have a lot of Brady consideration. I wanted Allen this week, but there's just like no value on the slate as of right now. Yeah. So like 8,100 is hard to pay for Allen. And believe it or not, looking over the domination station, Teddy Bridgewater is coming in as one of the top fantasy points. He's actually the top fantasy points per dollar projection right now. At 5,400, I just don't know that I can play him in cash. I just don't think I can do it.
He's supposed to get Judy back. That should help.
Yeah, no, it is a big boost because Judy. So you have Sutton and Patrick. They kind of are the same mold. Now, obviously, Sutton's more talented than Patrick, but they're big, physical, like possession receiver, like going to go up and get the ball at just throw it up. He's going to go up and get it. And Judy is more, he's going to break ankles and run a route perfect and be streaking down the sideline like wide open. That's the type of player that Judy is. So he brings in other elements of the offense that they've obviously been missing without him.
It's been rough.
I don't hate it. It's just hard. Like I'd play some Teddy in tournaments for sure, just in cash. Probably leaning more towards Hurts. 200 more. I feel like Brady is just such a safer play, so that's probably where I'll go.
Yeah, guys, he is a beast. He made the which is a pretty good defense. He made the Chicago defense look silly.
Yeah,
and that's a pretty good D.
No doubt. I have some consideration too for Justin Herbert, but I don't know. I'll put it this way. If they weren't playing the Patriots and Belichick, I would probably go elsewhere. You know what? Now that I think about it, I think they played the Patriots last year, and I think Belichick really wreaked havoc against Herbert. From what I remember last year, he was a rookie. He had a great year, but the one game he played the Patriots, it did not go well. So, yeah, now that I think about that, I'm probably off of Herbert in cash. But, he's certainly a tournament play.
Yeah, December 6th, 45 to zip.
Yep. Yep. I think I remember that because I had some exposure to Herbert, and it was a bad week. So I'm scarred by that shit.
In our league, he put up 6.36 points that week.
Yeah. Damn, you guys pull that up faster than Jamie pulling up stats for Joe Rogan. Impressive.
That's why I didn't. That's why I didn't drop. I have the Patriots D. That's why I didn't drop them because they just have any given week they could just like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, Belichick can give people fits. There's no doubt about it. But hi, Paul. You got any quarterbacks you like?
Matty Ice maybe. I could see that 5,900. That offense. I mean, they can get that offense going, and that defense is trash. So they gotta keep the gas down the hunt the entire time.
Okay, yeah. It's a decent play. He's certainly been better. He's been less Jekyll and Hyde than he was last year. So far this year, so not bad. Let's move it along to running backs. Eric, what you got for me?
Man, this is the same game I talked about earlier, which isn't in the top of the over-unders, but Joe Mixon. Same reason I like Burrow. He's playing the Jets, 6,900.
That Jets.
It just might be. I mean, it may be a Samaje Perine game too if the game gets out of hand. But I feel like Burrow's gonna have a good game. Mixon's gonna have a good game. James Robinson, 6,600. I like him this week as well. It's a good matchup. I feel like he'll have a pretty good week. They have a pretty bad run D. I like him a lot this week. So the guy we talked about earlier, the number one receiver on the Lions, Swift. And running back, 7,100 man. I like him this week because he's playing against a defense that, Josh Jacobs got hurt, but when he got hurt, Drake came in and marked him up too. So together, I think they gave up like 3 touchdowns or 2 or 3 touchdowns of running backs. Like they got slaughtered on the ground, and I think Swift is due for a good game. Another guy, man, where just every week seems to produce is Patterson. 6,200. Again, they design plays around him, and it just seems to always produce almost every week. Like those guys a lot. So a guy that's kind of more of a GPP play is he may be kind of highly owned, so maybe it's not. But Kenny Gainwell, he in that same one. Game, it's he's only 5K, but he gets a majority of the receiving work. He'll receive, give up some of the running, but it's too like the Lions don't have a horrible defense. They really don't. It's just their offense is so bad. It's like what happens with the Bears, right? They can't sustain a drive, and the defense just wears down. Yeah. But their defense in general is not that bad. But I feel like Gainwell could have a pretty decent game. That's all I have for running backs.
No, that's good. I like that. I was going to say, so for running backs for me, I'm looking at the LA Rams and Houston game. First off, this total is dropping a little bit. It was 48. It's now like 47.5. And you got the Rams with a 30.75 implied team total. And you're going against the Texans, dude. Like, this is they're putting their foot on their throats for sure. If there's ever like a Darrell Henderson smash game, like this is it. I mean, which kind of makes me worry a little bit about Kupp. Not that Kupp is not a beast, and he's probably going to get a ton of targets, but I could just see this game being so easy for the Rams that they're just like, let's just get out of here and let's just run the ball, because they're up 2-3 touchdowns. And Kupp at $9,000, maybe it doesn't get there. So I'm starting to to maybe second guess playing him this week, especially with there not being a lot of value. I don't know. It's Wednesday. We'll see where we are by Sunday, but definitely like Henderson. Also with you on Swift. He's their number one wide receiver, basically, and he's coming in. Both him and Henderson are coming in with top ownership projections from what I'm seeing right now on the domination station. And Henderson and Swift are also really good from a fantasy points per dollars perspective. So you got 2.79 and 2.95. Their projections are just under 20, with their ceiling projections being over 30 for both of them. So those are probably the two guys that I'm playing in cash this week. And then I was looking at Elijah Mitchell. I think he's like 5,400 about. So he could be like a good flex option for running back. So in tournaments, I'll probably get a lot different. Look for some of the lower owned guys. Derrick Henry, his price seems to have climbed up enough that maybe he's not going to be, chalk as far, like crazy chalk, at least in tournaments. Like right now he's coming in at 12.5%. I'll take that for tournaments. That is a game that I really like, by the way, for stacks in tournaments. Tennessee and Indy. That is one of the higher applied total games, 50.5, and it's pretty even. Like, this is looking to be a close game, according to Vegas. So, I like that game to maybe go off. By the way.
Yeah, man. What about Paul? Do you have any running backs you like?
The only other guy I'd throw in there is Chuba Hubbard. He's kind of obviously stepping in for CMC, but he's doing pretty much the same thing as Mike Davis did last year, which he's clearly not doing this year. But yeah, that's 6,000. That's not bad. And you're going up against Atlanta defense.
Thanks, man.
Cool. Well, let's move it on to wide receivers. I had to pee real quick. So, Eric, I'm going to let you take it away.
Yeah, man. Gosh dang it. I'm trying to get my zipper here. It's not working too well. That's my hoodie zipper. Anyway, for receivers, Brandon had mentioned he liked Tom Brady this week. And with Antonio Brown being out again, I mean, Gronk is supposed to come back, but Brown being out again, and usually when Tampa plays New Orleans, you get Mike Evans gets the Marshawn Lattimore treatment. Chris Godwin, 6,400. I like him this week a lot. Like receivers are usually like hang on a second here. They're my choice. Here we go.
Oh yeah, brother.
Oh yeah, it's receiver time. That's what I'm known for. Yeah. Can't see the paper. Deontay Johnson, 6.7, 6,700. I like him this week a lot. He's got a good matchup against the Browns. Can't breathe.
I
also
regret this decision.
Also, maybe a more GPP play, but we do like Keenan Allen. Belichick is known to take away your number one. Who's the number one this year so far? Is it Allen or is it Williams? Allen's numbers are. If you look at past seasons, if he scored as many touchdowns as he did, he'd be wide receiver 11, and right now he's like wide receiver, I forget, 29 or something. So he still has as many targets and yards as most seasons. The touchdowns just aren't there. I think Keenan Allen is due for a positive regression. And some deeper plays for GPP. Manny Sanders. I think it says 5,400. I can't see very well. And then Jerry Judy coming off. He's coming off an injury. He's coming off an injury, so it's kind of scary to play him, which a lot of people will probably back off on, but he's only 4,900, and the guy's a stud. really good. I mean, you've seen guys come from injuries, and sometimes the coaches they ease them in. They play like on a snap count, whatever. Sometimes they let them go full force.
Yeah.
So it could just be it's a risky play, but that's what GPP is all about anyway. So I like Judy at 4,900 for tournament play.
I like Judy too, mainly because, I mean, the things we just talked about. Judy's a beast, and he's 4,900. People have forgotten about him. Real quick, though, we got a couple questions in the chat. So, Truly Seb said, I got sent a trade, Cook and Pittman for Mixon and Debo. Who's winning that? I would lead Cook and Pittman on that side. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Who's paired up with Debo?
Mixon. So here's the thing, and Eric mentioned Mixon. I like Mixon as a player, but I don't know if you noticed this last week. He basically split carries with Perrine, however the fuck you pronounce his name. Perrine, yeah, but plus Perrine gets a lot of receptions as is, so I don't really like that. Cook, he's the alpha in the offense. As Paul would allude to, you traded Madison. As soon as Cook comes back, Madison ain't shit. Okay. As far as like a league winning upside, I would rather have Cook and Pittman than Mixon and Debo. But that's me. Cook can go off for 50 points in a game. We've seen it before, and that's what wins you leagues. But what do you guys think?
I agree, and here's why. One, I think Cook is the better running back. I think he's outside of like maybe McCaffrey or my boy JT. I think just as a running back, he's talent wise, he's top 3 for sure. Maybe him and McCaffrey maybe debatable. He's amazing when you watch him. And 2, the replacement. It's easier to find replacement points for a wide receiver than it is a tight end. If Pitts has truly found his where he's at now, it's hard to find. There's a bigger gap between the next tight end you're going to find versus the Debo and the next receiver you're going to find. Yeah, Pittman. What did I say?
Yeah. Pitts.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Pittman. Oh, shit, yeah. Pittman. I'm sorry. I said Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're saying there, I was like, man, where are you finding all these tight ends sitting around there? There's only like 3 good ones.
Sorry, I misheard the question. So, Pittman and Cook. I still take the Cook side because he's probably worth almost what both those guys are. When he's healthy, I mean he's a guy that puts up 20 points a game. So I even with that, I still like that side. And I think Pittman is he's showing that he's the alpha dog receiver on that team. Ty can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
What's his name? Paris Campbell just got hurt. Still like the Cook side. Mainly because of Cook.
I'm with you too. Pittman is definitely a beast, and he's emerging, and he's gonna be a guy that we're gonna talk about for a while.
Yeah, I was pissed
He's
off.
got all the attributes of a number 1 wide receiver.
I love auto drop sniped him. I didn't like that.
Yeah,
it's funny because I was like, you took 2 guys from me and you called them both out, like Hill and Pittman, right? I'm like, you son of a bitch. You knew it.
So, and then the second question we have, in case of Watson to Miami, drop Bateman, Kirk, or Tony for Fuller.
Oh God, probably Bateman. Only because of the type of offenses they're in.
Here's the thing. From everything that I've read, I would not be dropping players. Bateman, they hold him in high regard. I mean, they just drafted Bateman. He got a lot of targets this past week. I wouldn't drop him. Kirk, same thing. He's in a very high-powered offense. Sure, he's splitting. He's splitting target share, but he's got a good floor. And Tony could be a lotto ticket. He looked really good before he got hurt. So, from everything I've heard, there is no guarantee that the Miami is even going to trade for Watson because apparently they want to make sure his legal issues are settled, and that's just not happening this year.
That's not happening by Tuesday.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you can pick up Fuller, great, but I just personally wouldn't drop any of those guys for him. Just my opinion. So that's my answer.
I
Where
thought
were we? Were we on wide receivers?
No, you're good. You're good. Yep.
Yeah.
We were on wide receivers. I finished it out. Yep. The only other guy I had on there that because I couldn't see my damn list was Diggs. They play Miami. He's expensive as hell, but he hasn't had that huge game this year, and he usually gets a few of them. We're week 8 in. We're halfway through the season almost, so I like Diggs. It's kind of an expensive play, though, so I get if you want to back off him. He's 8,100.
For sure. I do actually love Diggs, and Eric, I was playing around with it earlier. I was really trying to fit Diggs and Kupp into a lineup, and I just couldn't do it. I'm really hoping there's some value on Slate, but I would probably, if I'm going Henderson, just based on a complete mismatch. Don't get me wrong, I will have exposure to Kupp in tournaments, but in cash, I'm kind of leaning more towards Diggs this week. He's $900 cheaper. I like him. And then I do like some Deebo Samuel at 7,400. I'm pretty much, Judy's going to be a lock for me at 4,900 this week. I just really like that value. He's, you got to have like one cheapie at least at wide receiver in your lineup, and who better than Judy? So liking him. If I sort over at DFS Army by fantasy points per dollar, Jacoby Myers is another option, 5,100. That could go well in that game versus the Chargers. He's done well this week, or this season. Past couple weeks, we talked about it. He had a touchdown called back. Cole Beasley could be a guy against the Dolphins, 4,900. You got
Sanders.
Yeah, Sanders too. What is his price?
5,400.
Sanders.
54.
Okay, so I actually like Sanders better at 5,400 than I do
good pivot
Beasley
from Diggs.
4,900. Yeah, he's just been so consistent in their offense, and they're going to him deep. Allen's going to him, in the red zone. He's hitting him in the end zone. Like, dude, how has this price not come up yet? It's 5,400. That's just crazy to me. Yeah, you just feel like you got to play.
Yeah, seems like good value, especially because they the Bills seem to be the team that puts the foot on the throat. Like they're ahead by 25 points, and they'll still keep piling the points on. It's like they don't seem to stop.
Yeah.
I mean,
and we talked about it.
Years and years of having the Patriots do that to you.
A little bitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about it earlier. Like I was mentioning to you, Eric. I'm not entirely sure if we talked about this on the show, but T. Higgins, dude, that's like Burrow's security blanket. And I watched that game. He was, anytime Burrow was in trouble, he would just throw it up to T. Higgins. I think he got like 15 targets.
15. Oh wait, I'm backwards.
He's only
there you go.
He's only $5,200. So
yeah,
I feel like you could roll up with like a Higgins and a Judy, for example, or a Higgins and an Emmanuel Sanders, and then maybe that's like your pay up for Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
So it's early. It's Wednesday. We're looking at a lot of things. It's kind of like a first look, but those are where I'm thinking right now. But let's move it to tight ends. Speaking of tight ends, I don't know if y'all saw this. Obviously, we talked about it last week. DK Metcalf apparently had no idea who Shannon Sharp was. And it came out today that he was like dating this girl, this OnlyFans model. And he was at the bar. He had like 2 girls lined up. And he's like, yeah, meet me and we're going to have like a foursome. And she was just like so offended. And I'm like, well, no shit. No wonder why he didn't know who Shannon Sharp was. He's focused on the wrong tight ends, clearly. Like, this fucking guy. But yeah, good little segue there into tight ends. Who do you like this week, Eric?
I only wrote down 3, man. I don't like tight ends this week. I'm not a big fan of. I don't know. I don't like the value. I wrote Gaseki down
Yeah.
again at 5K because he just seems to be targeted over and over and over and over again.
Tua
That's
loves
kind of like Tua's.
Tua loves tight ends. I've noticed that watching the game today.
He does. Another guy who seems to be increasing every week is Cole Comet. We had him last week. He was 3,000 last week. So he covered 3x. He hit like 9,400 or whatever it was. I don't remember, 9,600. He's 3,100 this week. His trajectory's kind of been going up. I mean, slowly up. I guess it's not like it's like kind of like more than a plateau, but sure. But anyway, and a guy who can kind of throw out there, Dawson Knox has been hurt. He's hurt. He broke his hand. Sweeney is his backup, and they said that they're going to try to put him in that Dawson Knox role. So he's 2,700 if you want to take a dart throw.
Yeah, that might be a lock come Sunday.
Yeah,
2,700, like that affords you to be able to fit in a Cup and maybe a Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, super cheap. But yeah, I have one guy that's expensive, Kaseki at 5K, and then Comet and Sweeney 2,700. Yeah, Sweeney is the guy. I almost picked him up in some of our leagues too, but I'm just not sure. But he's you never know. I mean, he doesn't.
Yeah.
He needs one catch. I mean, he's with Dawson Knox being gone. I mean, he basically takes that role over. He's about the same kind of body type. So we'll see how that goes.
I love it. Yeah, I was looking at the tight ends earlier, really trying to find like cash game play because, like I said, there's not a lot of value. I really like Kaseki, but he's just a little too high for me for like cash game play.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Ricky Seals-Jones at 3,800. He's been good. Heineke likes to target him, and then the Broncos defense has been giving up plays deep. And Ricky Seals-Jones, we saw just 2 weeks ago, he got deep on the Chiefs and scored a big touchdown. So he's an option. Dan Arnold is coming in at the highest projected owned right now at 2,800. But kind of as you mentioned with Sweeney, pricing wise, he can fit right in there, and that's an offense that you trust a lot more than you trust Jacksonville's offense.
Absolutely.
With fucking Bourbon Meyer running the show. So yeah, I'm good with that. I like that. Goddard, obviously, is probably the number one guy from a projection standpoint. If you want to pay over 4,500, he's your guy at 4,700. But probably leaning towards Ricky Seals-Jones, Sweeney, and Arnold in cash, just based on what I'm seeing on pricing.
Dan Arnold. Yeah, he's very involved in the offense. Seems like he's got a good trajectory as well, kind of going up.
Mm-hmm.
The only other person I'd throw in there, I mean, if you're looking for like Goddard at 4,700, Gronk is at 4,600 this week. I think
you're backwards. I think he's 64. Is he not?
4,600.
Oh.
Gronk?
I just don't know how.
Oh no, you're right. Sorry, 46. You're right.
One broken rib and punctured lung. I don't know what shape.
No, you're correct.
It's a good play. No, he's 46. Yeah, it's a good play too because they don't think Antonio Brown's going to play this week. So
he's actually he might be out long term from what they're saying. This might be might not be a 1 week thing.
Yeah, I saw that. Well, and the other thing too is I watched that game and Brady targeted Cameron Brate a lot. Like Cameron Brate could have had a big day. Like I'm glad I didn't have Cameron Brate in GPP lineups because I would have been fucking tilting because literally Brady targeted Brate in the end zone like 3-4 times. So he's missing Gronk a little bit. He's missing his tight end. It's a good call, Paul. Like it. On to defenses. Let's finish this thing out.
Yeah.
We got a little carried away tonight. This is
a little longer.
We're over an hour, but we're having fun. So, for me, it's real simple. Defense, I got one, and this pains me to say as a Broncos fan, but Washington football team, 2,100. Teddy's been coughing the ball up lately. He's probably healthy this week. He has Judy back. Washington football team's not a good team. The Broncos have had 10 days off. They're at home. I'm not expecting Teddy to be the Teddy that we saw the past couple weeks. But if he is, it's 2,100, and they're going to smash. In cash games, they're the highest projected own. I like them. As we've talked about many times, especially on making a milli, GPP, you got to pay up a little bit. So you look, as we saw again last week, the Bucks going against Justin Fields and the Bears. You pay up for defenses. I think they were almost 4,000, 3,500 plus. So in like GPPs, you're looking for defenses in a good matchup. What's standing out to me right now, the Bengals versus Jets, 3,600. Yes. Yeah. Sometimes you got to do that. Who's playing Houston this week? The Rams, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like 5,100.
Yeah, 5,100.
Yeah. I have not seen a defense like that high. So you don't want to pay up that high for a defense, but between the like $3,000 to $4,000 range, if you could find a defense in a good matchup, that's kind of what you want to look at.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
Man, I kept it pretty simple too. The team that's inexpensive that could do well is Jacksonville. Geno Smith is awful. God, that guy's bad.
You're right, Eric. That's a good call.
2,400 for Jacksonville. They don't have a great defense, but Geno Smith is pretty bad.
Yeah, he might get knocked the fuck out like he did that one time in the locker room by his teammates.
If you're feeling real frisky, you go with the Lions against the Eagles, just because Lions D's not bad against just their offense can't sustain drives. But Jalen Hurts, man, he's played so awful pretty much every game except for week 1, and he's put up points, but eventually that comes to kind of a head. So if you're looking for some GPP games, like the Bills at 3,300 against the Dolphins, I like them a lot this week. I guess also the 49ers at 3,500 against the Bears against Justin Fields. The Bills at 33 and the 49ers at 4,500 or 3,500 rather. Sorry, against the Bears. But yeah, for cash, I'm keeping it simple. I'm going with the Jags. Yeah. I think for most lineups, just because we know what Geno is, and he's not good.
We know what he is.
I agree.
That's good.
Yeah. I agree, and I like it. And we've talked about it before, but maybe if this is the first time you're catching the podcast or whatever, typically on the Fantasy Fling podcast, we more so focus on cash games. And then once we go to making a milli, we talk a little bit more about GPP. So we kind of shift our focus. And we'll give you more of the stacks and studs and sleepers that you're looking to win a GPP.
Absolutely. It was a longer podcast, like you said, but Halloween edition. Had to give it a couple more walk of shame stories, so it happens.
Yeah, we got to run with it a little longer sometimes, but
yep,
it's good times as always. Paul, maybe next time you'll be a little more drunk like you were last Halloween.
Maybe like a middle of the line there.
Yeah, maybe you wear your girlfriend's shirt again.
Extra schmedium.
Schmedium. It's like you go into Hollister and any size you order is like a size down. Well, it was great. Great time with you guys as always. That's going to do it for week 8, previewing the DFS Meets Slate, especially the cash games. But we're doing Making a Milli this week on Saturday. We're going to go live Saturday afternoon, maybe morning, depending on Eric's schedule. He's the man. We work around the schedule. He's the family man. Yeah. Paul is like halfway to being a family man. I'm like the furthest thing from being a family man. So we except for my family that I love, my cousin, my friends like Paul and whatnot. But yeah, we'll get that figured out and we'll do Making a Milli on Saturday. So we'll see you guys then. We'll talk some GPP.
Sure.
Good luck this week.
Later.
Bye, guys.
Hey, so